So the innovations are very, very important as an entrepreneur. And technology is to be added to that. The technology, existing technology, whatever technology that the business people, the industrialists, and everywhere using the technology today, that has to be updated. For updation of technology, the innovations are very, very important. If you have the innovations adding to the technology, then the entrepreneurship develops a lot. You can upgrade the entrepreneurship, and the product of the entrepreneur will definitely be flourished in the market. The demand will be forever, it will be continued. The only thing is the entrepreneur, the innovations are to be added to the technology. So that's all we'll going to discuss. I will share the slides so that each and every point we can discuss elaborately. I'd like to share my opinions, my ideology, whatever knowledge that I have. I would like to submit before you, share before you. I hope definitely this presentation will fetch the participants. I'm happy to be associated with all the participants. I have seen many participants are there, more than 100. I welcome all the participants. Without taking much of your time, I'll share the screen. Please bear with me for a few seconds. Is it visible? Is it visible, please?
Not yet, sir.
1 second. One second. One second, please be online. 1 second.
No issues, no issues.
Is it visible, please? Is the screen visible?
No, not yet. It's not visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible. Okay.
Visible.
Then there must be a problem.
So it is visible now.
Yes. Kankapati Saab, I can see. We can see it. It's visible.
Is it visible now, please?
Yeah, it's visible. We can see.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
1 second. Am I visible and audible, please?
Yes.
Is it visible and audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Parikshit ji. Now, the today's topic that what I told you is the entrepreneurship development through technology and innovations, and the presentation sketch that I'm going to discuss not before you is that the conceptual base of the entrepreneurship entrepreneurship and its components, and the entrepreneurship economic development. And you have the SWOT analysis is very important for the entrepreneurship, because to know some of what are the weaknesses and what are the strengths, opportunities and threats on a regular basis. An entrepreneur should know about the strengths, weakness, opportunities and threats, so that the entrepreneur can develop the business further and further. So it's a regular process. The entrepreneur should conduct the SWOT analysis and all that with regard to business. And you have the entrepreneur should discriminate the innovations of technology and all that. As I mentioned, the entrepreneur should discriminate what are the technology and innovations that are taking place. Unless you take these components into consideration, it is not possible to develop the entrepreneurship. That is what the reason, the distinguishing and discriminate the different types of innovations that are required as per the requirement of the consumers or end users. The entrepreneur should know about the end users' habits, tastes, and all that. So that will take into consideration. Holistic technological move, entrepreneurship is very important. Overall technological innovations and how those innovations are interrelated to the entrepreneurship, that we're going to see it. Entrepreneurship innovations, the linking, the bridge, and you have the entrepreneurship technology as a bridge, and entrepreneurship development through humatronics. We'll talk about what are the components that are included in this entrepreneurship humatronics that we'll see. Also, you have the technology in segregation. What type of technology innovations are required? Because there are various entrepreneurships, there are various businesses are there. We cannot apply the same technology and the innovations for every business. It all depends upon the nature of the business and all that. So that technological innovation, entrepreneurship, innovative technologies, and reshaping entrepreneurship. No doubt that also we'll talk about innovative technologies and how the entrepreneurship is going to reshape because of this innovative technologies and updated technologies, and adding these innovations to the technologies, how the entrepreneurship is going to reshape. And you have the Global Innovation Index, India's position. Also, we'll discuss in one slide. Entrepreneurship and business models, briefly we'll discuss about it. And institutions for entrepreneurship development in India. What are the institutions so far? For the last 100 years, what are the institutions that are taking place and how they are playing their role towards the development of the entrepreneurship? That also we'll check it. And some of the technology driven industries also, I'll give some. Of course, there are many nowadays, many technological industries are engaged, are there, existed. But to name few, some of the industries, how they are associated with the innovations and technologies also will be discussed. And you have, first of all, the conceptual base when you look into it, when you observe it. Entrepreneurship is all about the focus generating new values, innovations. New values and innovations are associated to the entrepreneurship. And you have the business is mainly focused on, the not basically innovation. The business man or the entrepreneur will always look into the profits, how to make more and more profits, of course. But to make more and more profits, innovations are very important, that we cannot neglect it. But when you distinguish these two, it's all about the entrepreneurship generating new values and innovations, and business is more on the making of profits and all that. We're all aware of it. And entrepreneurship is all about, organizing, managing, and assuming risks. It is associated with many risks and organizing of so many resources and managing so many activities in the business, in every business, that will all of us know. And enterprise, when you talk about it, is outcome based. Basically, it is outcome. Outcome means what the product is going to be taken out, and what is the future of that product in the or in the days to come, or in the years to come. That all will be look into the enterprise. It's an activity, and you have the entrepreneurship significance. It is really a significant because significance role, because national product, the entrepreneurship development and its need reflects on the national product, and you have the equitable development. When you talk about, you cannot neglect the entrepreneurship and its importance and its role. One cannot neglect it because it is interlinked with the GDP and national product and equitable development of the country and the society. And you have the wealth generations also. Wealth generation also is linked with the entrepreneurship development. So that is why in India, especially manufacturing, we are lagging behind in manufacturing and all that. And we are all basically the business is unorganized sector, and an unorganized sector, majority of the people are involved in the unorganized sector. So unorganized sector only, majority of the revenues are coming to the government. People are depend on the unorganized sector for their survival and all that. That is there. So that is why these all should be taken into consideration when you talk about significance of entrepreneurship and all that. Entrepreneur means, risk bearer for profits. An entrepreneur wants to, a businessman wants to earn profits, means risk associated. Any business is risk associated. You cannot avoid the risk because business is uncertain. All of us know. So entrepreneurial business should have economic impact, right? Despite economic struggling, even the pandemic situations also, the unorganized sector are because of the innovations, many, I will name some of the examples also I'll give you. Startups. So e-commerce business is taking a lot of the important during the pandemic situations and all that. By sitting at home, if you can order, you can receive either domestic products or food products or any domestic food products or anything that you can today, you can get it by sitting at home. These are all happening because of the e-commerce and all that we have seen during this pandemic situations, even now also. So that is why, so risk cannot be deviated from the entrepreneur. Risk is associated, always will be associated with the entrepreneurship. So that risk has to be identified, and effectively that risk has to be from the risk the entrepreneur should overcome out of it. For that, the innovations, technology give a solution to the entrepreneur or give a way out to the entrepreneur to come out of the risks and all that. And economic impact also. There is economic impact, huge economic impact should be observed in the less time, or more impact should be there. In such a manner, the innovations are to be added. Innovations all about nothing but an value addition. All of us know, to the existing technology, to the existing business activity, you are supposed to give continuously a value addition, so that what happens, the business will grow and the entrepreneurship development is possible. It's all about the customers attract is very important. That's all that all will happen because of the innovations, because of the value additions that you give time to time to your product, to your business. That's about. And entrepreneur means the person, a work is a project associate. A project will be given if he's an implementer of a particular project, and his a idea generator. He is a maker, and he will, once the idea is generated and the project will be implemented by him. He is a person of the employee. He is a person of the organization. As an employee, he will implement it, and he will see the success of the organization. He will see the success of the product and all that. So these are all we can see as a basic, the conceptual basis and all that. Now come to the entrepreneurship in its components. When you see creation of an idea, so first of all, the entrepreneur should have a clear idea. A idea has to be generated in his mind. How he will get an idea? Because he has to get an idea, he has to go through. Nowadays, a lot of literature is available on business, and so many journals are also there, and so much of information, abundant information is available on the networking. And these are all things, if the entrepreneur go through, definitely he will get an idea. Once he gets an idea, then that idea has to be implemented. So the creation of idea is the basis first of all. And then once the creation of idea is done, then opportunities are to be identified. What are the opportunities that he is having, that particular entrepreneur is having? So opportunities are to be checked. Opportunities and also resources for implementation of that idea. These are all very, very important. Unless you have an idea, you may have an idea, but if you don't have the opportunities of, say, for example, the investments for expansion of the idea, or the resources, and say, for example, mobilization of capital, management skills, the location where you are going to establish the unit, and the location support and all that, you are supposed to, as an entrepreneur, supposed to check it, verify it. Then only that idea can be implemented. So these are three important, the components of entrepreneurship: idea, opportunities, and resources. And you have extract gains on long-term basis. Entrepreneur should always think on a long-term basis, not on short-term basis. The profits can be, the profits can expect, not in the short run, in the long run period, how your business has to be grown up, and how you have to get the maximum profits and all that. These all will happen not in the short period, not in a short span of period. It happens it takes some time. So that is why, in a long run basis, the entrepreneur should think in view of the innovations. For that, innovations and technology, whatever technology innovations are required, those are to be adopted and has to be implemented, and upgradation of technology with innovations are to be taken care of. That is one important thing. And you have the enterprises creates wealth pooling, resources required. These are all common. Once you take up the project and implement, then what happens? The wealth pooling and all that, creation of wealth, pooling the resources. First of all, resources are to be required, resources are to be pooled, and then implementation of the idea, what I mentioned. All these things, because of all these things, what happens? The creation of wealth over a period of time will happen. So it includes planning, organizing, operating, and prepare, bear risks. Preparation to the entrepreneur should be ready to bear the risks and all that. So these are all the characteristics, or the components that entrepreneur should have to develop the entrepreneurship. And you have entrepreneurship economic development. When you talk about first few slides, kindly listen, first few slides for up to 10 slides, I'll talk about the entrepreneurship and its development components and all that. Later on, I will take the technology innovations added to the entrepreneurship. So first few slides, I'll talk about entrepreneurship and all that, peripherals and all that, economic development and all that. After that, I take the technology innovations to the entrepreneurship, associating the technology and innovation to entrepreneurship, we'll talk about. Now, when you see the entrepreneurship economic development, first of all, there are three important components that we can see: investments, employment, contributes to GDP. So without investments, entrepreneurship or any startup or any business is not possible, all of us know. And because of these investments, either it is domestic investments or FDIs, foreign direct investments, whatever it is, that will definitely create the employment. Many people will get employed, and that once the employment is generated, then what happens, the people will get, will have more purchasing power and all that. The purchasing power, because of their employment, they will get more purchasing power, and the purchasing power, because of that, the consumption process will increase. That consumption ultimately leads to enhancement of the GDP, and national income will increase, and per capita income also will increase, because of one element is interlinked with other element. One component is interlinked with other components like that. So investments, employment contribute to GDP. These are all basically very important for the economic development and because of the entrepreneurship development. And you have the initiating enterprise. If you want to initiate a particular enterprise, you need to take into consideration these are the important components the entrepreneur should be kept in mind to initiate any enterprise. Say, for example, selection of a leader for project, entrepreneur. So selection of a leader is very important, because ultimate end of the day, entrepreneur should success with his product, whether it is manufacturing or any trading, whatever the product may be. What is the manufacturing? Through manufacturing any product, whatever product he produces, he has to come out and he has to touch the targets, whatever he fixed. This all will happen because of the efficient leader. If the leader or the project implementer is not up to the mark, is inefficient, say for example, then it is not possible the entrepreneurship, the project, the goals or objectives cannot be accomplished. So that is why entrepreneur should have a good leadership qualities. That is one thing to initiate the enterprise. And you have the right people as a team. An individual, entrepreneur and individual cannot do anything. So a team is important. So like him, like entrepreneur, some other people also required who are qualified, skilled people, because if the association, if the group is there along with him, then the objectives or the goals or the targets, whatever fixed, that can be accomplished easily. So the team is very important along with the entrepreneur, efficient entrepreneur. So that is why the right people has to be selected, right person for the right job has to be selected. And you have the project verification. And you, whatever project that you're going to take up, that has to be verified, the relevance of the project, and you have the demand and supply of the product in the present situations in the market. It all has to be verified. So without verification and all that, the financial aspects and other resources, resource aspects, all these things should be verified carefully. After that, he come to conclusion, and then he has to go for the implementation of the project and all that. One by one, later on it will take place. And you have the targeted customers also should be identified, very important, to whom you are producing, who are the targeted people for your product. That the entrepreneur should identify first of all. It's not that the will and wish of the entrepreneur, it's not the wish of or whatever desires he desires, if he cannot, he should not produce that, because the target people has to be identified. And once the target people are identified, and the volume of the production also should be on the basis of the volume of the production should be finalized, and then only the product can be initiated in the market, and he will get more and more profits. So that is why target people, on the basis of keeping in view, keeping in the mind the target people, the product has to be designed and the product is to be manufactured. So that then what happens, there will be no question of failure and all that. And you have the required competencies also. Whatever people that you are taking as an association with the entrepreneur, along with the entrepreneur, they should have the competence. That's what I told. The skills are very important. We are talking about today the skills and all that, skill India and all that. The skills, without skills, especially in many of the, you can take any domain, without skills, it is not, the innovations will not take place, and innovations, if they don't take place, if you want to sell a way back product which is not sophisticated, if you want to sell, nobody will buy today. So that is why people are always changing their desires, their needs, their requirements are changing with all sophistication and all that. In that situation, entrepreneur should take care about the competencies of the employees and the competencies as far as product is concerned. The competencies are to be identified, and the competencies on the as far as employees are concerned, because they will be involved in the production process, and the competencies as far as the quality is concerned of the product. So these two are should be matched, balanced. Then only what happens, the good quality of the product will come out. Then there will be no problem to sell and to market the product and all that happens. And you have the nature of the capacity of the project. Nature of the capacity, that's what I told, just mentioned a few seconds back. Length of the volume of the production, and what type of the product that you want to produce it, whether it is customer centric, or whether it is market oriented or not, demand and supply, all these things are supposed to be identified, and accordingly the entrepreneur should go for production and all that, and for introducing the product in the market. And that particular product, once he decided, then he can go for initiating the enterprise and all that. So assess market conditions also. These are all things that should be taken into consideration before initiating the enterprise. So before initiating the enterprise, only these are all the things that the entrepreneur should thoroughly check. Then if all these things are checked properly, and if it is convenient, if it is positive, then he has to take a forward step to initiate the enterprise and all that. And the political economic environment also should be checked. A stability in the political or government point of view, the central government, a state government, local government, whatever it is, a stability must be there in the local governance. Then what happens, that will boost, that will give a lot of support, the support can take from the local governments or concerned government. So that stability must be, that also should be taken into consideration. Economic development environment in the area, in the region, or in the country has to be observed, because these are all the things, situations that entrepreneur should identify, should check thoroughly to initiate the enterprise. Otherwise, without checking all these things, suddenly if he start whatever idea that he gets, if he start, there is every chance to fail and all that. So technological initiatives also very important at the same time, along with all these points. Technological initiatives, what technology is suitable for your product, and how the innovations are in the days to come or in the years to come once the technology is adopted, and how the technology has to be modernized with all the innovations and all that. That has to be that also should have an idea in the mind of the entrepreneur for initiating the enterprise. And you have entrepreneurs SWOT, and if you just check it, management, staff, end users, and the physical and financial resources. You can talk about these things, these components, as a strength, as weakness also. If it is not there, if the entrepreneur is not having these things, any of these things, there is a weakness. If all these things are having by the entrepreneur, then it is a strength, no doubt about it, right? And then opportunities and threats, when you talk about, entrepreneurs should have a forecast of enterprise, what the future of the product in the days to come or in the years to come, and what are the opportunities, local opportunities, how he has to use them optimally. That has to be checked within the country and even abroad. Various financial sources, what are the financial sources that are available, in what way the entrepreneur can make use of the financial, can avail the financial sources as and when he requires. That all has to be taken into consideration. Not only that, demographics of people and their requirements. The people, set of people, say for example, it is different in our country, especially the demographics of the people depends. A lot of difference you can find from one area to another, from one state, one region to another region. So the demographics will not be consistent, and you can find different demographics in different areas. So the demographics, why I'm talking about is, wherever you want to initiate an enterprise, so there the demographics, first of all, the entrepreneur should check about it, and according to the tastes, needs, habits, traditions, the culture of the people, the entrepreneur should initiate his the enterprise. That is why the requirements of the people is important. It's not the requirement of the entrepreneur. It's the requirement of the people or the requirement of the consumers. That is very, very important. The problems are very important. What are the problems the people are facing now? What they actually require? So the problem identification is very important. Out of the problem identification, a solution has to be given. The solution is possible with the innovations. So the innovation should always be associated with the problem. If you can show an entrepreneur, if you can show a way out for the problem to the consumers for a particular product, then what happens? They feel happy and they will buy it. So that is why this happens only with the innovations only. So the innovations are also not consistent. It will go on change time to time. Today's innovations will not be the innovations from tomorrow. Tomorrow they check, because as I mentioned, the tastes of the people or the habits of the people, and the culture also, sometimes traditions also will be changed. It is not consistent. You cannot see that fixing of these things. These components will go on change. So when these things are changing, as an entrepreneur, we need to add certain value addition to the product. That is what I'm trying to submit before you. So innovations are nothing but the modification of existing technology, existing product. Whatever product that you have today, to that existing product, some ideas are to be added, value addition, some value has to be added, so that what happens, you can sustain the product in the market. So that is what all we are the entrepreneur has to take care all the time. So that is about one thing. And the decision making development strategy, when you talk about, always determine the objective. First of all, the entrepreneur should identify the objective, determine the objectives, and for that, the machinery, material, men, what is the technology that he has to acquire, and the market creation, how the market has to be created. Because sometimes, the product, maybe if it is a new product, then definitely market creation is compulsory. Market has to be created. For that, so much of, nowadays you have the advertisement channels and all that, media channels are there. With that, the market has to be created, and all these things should be taken into consideration for decision making. So decision making is very important. Decision should be taken by the entrepreneur, not on the basis of without not verifying all these things. The decision should not be taken. So the decision should be taken on a concurrent manner, on a concrete basis, by taking all these points into consideration by the entrepreneur. Otherwise, what happens, we all of us know, it will fail miserably. So that is why these are all very, very important aspects that an entrepreneur should take into consideration. The businessman should take into consideration. An entrepreneur should always give a new idea for the sustainability of the product and all that. And you have today, that is why incubation centers today we are all seeing. And you have the startups, Make in India, from startup to Make in India. Today we're all seeing so many incubation centers are initiated in the country, by the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. For the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years, we have been seeing it. The incubation centers and all that. Incubation centers are the supporters. We all of us know supports the other, sometimes the assistance, the technology innovations or technology assistance, or any. You can also, as an entrepreneur, you can also share your idea, where you can discuss on those platforms, and you can get the ideas also, and you can also revise and modify your idea, and how you have to implement all these things. You can discuss on those platforms, and you can get a knowledge of it. And for better implementation, incubation centers are very, very helpful sources. And you have the entrepreneurship networks also. Networks are to be developed, because industrial areas, we see in the country, many areas in many states, the industrial areas are there. When industrial areas, usually we have already huge networking is there, because these networkings definitely helps if any problems are facing by any entrepreneur, or any entrepreneur and any business, then definitely a way out will find out through the networking and all that. So that is why networking also should be developed for the entrepreneurship development. And you have the Industry Academy Institute and you have industry academia, institute industry interface. Nowadays, unfortunately, we are lacking. We are lagging behind this. We are lack of the interface and all that. So industry is not touched with the academia. Academia is not touched with, because the curriculum that we are following, that the curriculum we are teaching in the classrooms today, it is not suited to the industry. And the industry people says that always it is not suited to our requirements, like that they say. So that is why, if industry and academy interface is there, then definitely the curriculum can be developed, or curriculum can be made according to the requirements of the industry, and according to the requirements of the, especially the society requirements are very, very important. On the basis of society requirements, the curriculum can be designed. The society requirements are nothing but the people requirement. On the basis of the people requirement, the local requirements are to be taken into consideration. Regional requirements should be taken into consideration. On the basis of that, if curriculum is prepared, then definitely what happens, that will help the younger generations, that will show a way out for the problem of unemployment and all that. So that is why this interface of industry, institute industry interface, industry academy interface is very, very important. And you have the entrepreneur should discriminate with innovations and technology. Why? Because why you have to discriminate distinguish means, because as I mentioned few seconds back, all the business are not in not a similar one. The different businesses today that we have seen, we have been experiencing. So each business is having its own the requirement of technology and innovations. So that is why, if you distinguish the different types of the startups or different types of industries, businesses, then accordingly we can offer the solutions through innovations, or suitable innovations we can offer to that, so that they will come out of the problem and all that. So that is why I told you just a few seconds back, innovations or ideas are very important. Ideas should be generated, and the problem is to be identified. And for that problem, people, what problem they are facing about the production, about the enterprise, about the products, about the business environment. So that has to be identified. And you as an entrepreneur, if you can give a way out through innovation or through some value addition, if you can give, then definitely the people will be attracted, the consumers will be attracted, and that particular product, that particular business, that particular entrepreneur will definitely flourish. That is one important aspect. And future estimations, you have long product future lies. So future estimations, as I mentioned in the previous slides, estimations are very important. So some forecasting is important. And you have how long the product future lies, that also very important. Today you have introduced one product, you are going to introduce a product, but how long that product will lie in the market, how long the people will buy it. Let's say, for example, 4 years, 5 years, if you estimate, after 4 years, what is going to happen? What is going to happen to that product? And if you want to sustain it, what are the modifications that you are going to take up with the help of innovations and all that? That should be taken into consideration in the initial stages of the startups and all that, in the beginning of the business and all that. And the product prospects also should be taken into consideration. Usually the business people wants to get early recovery and all that. So that is why the product prospects are very important. What are the prospects of the product that you are going to introduce in the market? Whether long run prospects are there, whether it is for confined to short term prospects, that will be has to be observed. And market observations, it is continuous process. Market observation is a continuous process, because there are many substitutes nowadays. We can see when there are many substitutes, then naturally there is a lot of competition will be there. Cutthroat competition sometimes happens. So in that situation, entrepreneur should always watch carefully the market situations, observations. You have to observe accordingly. Why these observations required means you need to modify the product according to the changes and all that. So that is one important point. And the entrepreneurship customer centric designs. So entrepreneurship customer centric design is very important. You need to design the product according to the customer centric, customer opinion, customer interest, that should be taken on the basis of that designs are to be made. And you have habits, needs. I already told are discussed, submitted before you. Habits, needs, the traditions, culture should be taken care of the end users of the end users. And you have the diversification of manufacturing, trading is very important. So you cannot go on sell the same product without modifications. You cannot go on sell the product. So sometimes the diversification is important. For example, you are producing a particular product, so that can sustain for a 2 years or 3 years. Then what happens? You need to add something to that. Otherwise, you cannot sell the same product years together. So that happens. If you don't take the diversification, then the entrepreneur cannot survive in the market for a long period. That is very, very important. All of us know it. So use technology, optimum level of mitigate the costs. So costs always will be minimized. All of us know minimization of costs reflect the maximization of profits and all that. We all know. We teach the cost accountancy and all that. So that is why the costs can be minimized only when, if you can optimum utilize the entrepreneur, optimally utilize the technology and added value from time to time to the technology, then definitely the entrepreneur can flourish in the market. And with the help of innovations and technology, it happens. And you have the contribution, value addition, and competencies. These are all very compactness of the product are very, very important. If you see earlier, some way back to 15 years back, the cell phone sizes are different, and today the mobile phone sizes are different, and the features also. There's so many features today been experiencing. Earlier it was Nokia was there, but that Nokia is not there today. It lost the market. Why? Because there are no innovations. They did not introduce the innovations to their product. So that is when the Nokia cell phone lost the market. It is very good product, no doubt about it. As far as quality is concerned and the product is concerned, it's very excellent. All of us know. But today Nokia is nowhere because it has lost the market because of lack of innovations and all that. So that is what had happened. So customer requirement and product ability is also very, very important aspect that should take into consideration. Customer requirements, product availability. That's what I told you. Their requirement is very important. On the basis of that, we need to develop the product from time to time. And you have the holistic technological move entrepreneurship. Basically, you have affordability, timely distribution, specification of technology used. These are all very important aspects that should be taken care of. Affordability, ultimately, say for example, whatever product that we produce with all technology and innovations, that has to be affordable to the middle class people and the lower middle class people, because today in India we have majority of the people are middle class and lower middle class people. So keeping those target people into consideration in our mind, as a manufacturer, as an entrepreneur, the affordability should be taken into consideration, and accordingly the product is to be designed, and then that affordability is ensured, then definitely there is no question of sustainability and all that. At the same time, timely distribution is also very important. So by the time your product is, no doubt your product is very quality and all that, no doubt, quality point of view very excellent, but you're not supplied in appropriate time, then what happens? Not distributed, not supplied appropriate time, what happens? Then it is of no use. And specifications of the technology also should be mentioned, the packing and all that, because people should know what type of technology that you have used, the space and all that, so that what happens, the people will know about it and they will buy it. So that the awareness of the technology specifications to the consumers are also very important. So it is a fair. It is, the exploring giving information about the specifications of the product to the consumers is a fair marketing as far as manufacturer or as far as entrepreneur is concerned. Similarly, you have success of product is a success of entrepreneurship. Good looking design, we all of us know. Customer approach is very important. So how you are approaching the customer to sell your product, that matters always. Supply according to the demand. So you need to supply. These are all the forecast I just explained in the previous slides. So through forecasting and all that, the supply your entrepreneur can supply according to the demand and all that. And you have the compactness of the manufacturing and all that we discussed the previous slides and all that. The product always should be, nowadays the people wants to carry the product, whatever the product, if they are required it, definitely they have to be, they want to carry, that product should be in a position to carry with them. So that compactness must be ensured, so that what happens, they will be more attractive and all that. Entrepreneurship and innovations, when you talk about, I already, from here onwards, from this slide onwards, some technological innovations aspects I included along with the entrepreneurship from this slide onwards. You can just check it. Entrepreneurship and innovation, when I talk about, I already told about, talked about the innovations in entrepreneurship. Innovations are nothing but new rules and ideas. It is ideas and new rules go on change. It's not consistent time to time, day by day, as and when the habits, tastes, traditions are go on changing. Then definitely the new rules and ideas also should be changed. You are forced to change it. So innovations are nothing but the new rules and ideas always time to time has to be added to the technology, so that the product will be sustained. The entrepreneurship will be in entrepreneurship development is possible then. Technological innovations contributes a higher level of the economic output, deliver new goods and services. These changes the lives of the human being, leading quality of life. Naturally, goods and services. If you can provide quality of goods and services to the public, to the consumers, to the end users, definitely what happens, the life of the human being also, you can see the quality of life, standard life and quality of life you can observe for a period of time in the lives of the human being and all that. And you have the technological age, competition, knowledge based. So technologically, the competition is very high time to time. You cannot stop it. Because many, as I mentioned, many substitutes will go and come in the market. When the substitutes are go on coming, then the competition will increase. Then the entrepreneur should need to improve his knowledge towards the innovations and all that. If doesn't do that, what happens? He will be out of the arena. So these are all things that happen. So technology innovations, emerging, and new products, and the services improving our lives significantly. Definitely, no doubt about it. Definitely, the new things, new innovations to the existing technology, definitely that matters to the enterprise and entrepreneurship development and all that. And entrepreneurship development and its evolution, once you just check the evolution of entrepreneurship way back 1784 onwards. In the 1784, some few things I have given here. Of course, there are many things. 1784, the steam water mechanical equipment we used to follow. And 1870, division of labor, electricity, mass production. That was the situation. In 1969, electronics slowly we have come onto the electronics areas and IT, automated production and all that. And in the year 2000 onwards, the cyber systems, artificial intelligence, robotics, these are all the things that has come, emerged in the society, in our life. It is an essence of, the fourth industrial revolution that we can say. So but fourth industrial revolution emerged very, it will not take much of time. It has not taken much of time to emerge the fourth industrial revolution, just only for 50 years. The earlier periods, if you see 1784 to 1870, almost 100 years. 1870 to 1960, almost 100 years it took from one industrial revolution to another industrial revolution. But as far as this 1969 to 2000, it's only about 50 years only it took to make the changes these are all happening, the changes. Artificial intelligence we are talking about today, the cyber systems, robotics and all that, we are experiencing all these things today. So this fourth industrial revolution emerged very speedily in our lives. So that is one important area, evolution. And institutions, for this, today we have in the country certain institutions that we have. Say, for example, some of those are the Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, EDII. It was, the 1983 sponsored by Apex Financial Institutions, IDBI Bank Limited, IFCI Limited, ICICI Bank Limited. These are all the sponsors. And you have another one, Small Industries Development Organization, SIDO, is there. It was initiated October 1973 under Minister of Trade and Industry, Marketing and all that. Management Development Institute, MDI, another institute. It was 1973 sponsored by IFCI, Industrial Finance Corporation of India and all that. And you have the another one, All India Small Scale Industries Board, AISSIB, it is there. The Small Scale Industries Board, SSI Board is there. SSI Board is the apex advisory body constituted. National Institute of Entrepreneurship and Small Business Development, NIESUBUD, in 1980, the Government of India established this, initiated. So next you have National Institute of Small Industries Extension Training. It is there 1960. It was there in Hyderabad, and the National Small Industries Corporation Limited, NSIC, also there 1995 by the government of central government. So these are all the organizations, institutions are helping enormously to the development of the entrepreneurship. Now that there is no doubt, so many activities through these organizations, through these institutes, a lot of the awareness and a lot of knowledge, a lot of the training programs and a lot of information. Those whoever wants to initiate any enterprise, any enterprise, any development towards entrepreneurship, these are all the institutions that are giving excellent support, And you have technology bridge, and technology is a bridge between the consumer and the product. This is always a very important aspect. The bridge in the sense, the technology, the consumer and product. Consumer and product means consumer should attract the product, means that the technology is forcibly you have to adapt. Otherwise, the nowadays the product cannot be attracted by the customer. So product attraction is very important. That's what I told you, sophisticated compactness and all that the product should have. These are all things that happens only with the technology. So that is why it bridge. There is a bridge now. Now there is a bridge between the product and consumer. The technology and innovations are the bridge, no doubt about it. The technology bridge between equity and growth. What do you mean by equity? Value and growth. Value and growth, it bridges. The value, once you give the value to the product, then definitely if the consumer feels happy about it, and if consumer feels that it is a value based, then definitely consumption purchases, consumption sales will increase, and growth automatically will take place. These are all interlinked, as I mentioned in the previous slides. Expansion of entrepreneurship. Say for more products, economic growth. Products, if you produce more amount of products, definitely that reflect the economic growth and all that, GDP and all that. Simple points. Industrial growth leads to employment growth, definitely, that we already discussed about in the previous slides. Industrial growth always will generate the employment generation, employment growth. Because of that, what happens? The consumption increases, and the consumption increases. What happens? The GDP and the income levels of the per capita income of the people will increase, so that ultimately it leads to the development of the country and all that. So more purchasing power, more consumer power, more demand for goods and services, more GDP, more per capita income. These are all possible. Next, we have the strategy flow from idea to commercialization. This is most important. Once you have the idea, that idea how you have to track to the commercialization way. So that is very important. For that, innovation, differentiation, innovators, differentiators, followers. These are the three important people. The innovators are, very well, innovators give idea or give solutions to the problem, and differentiators also type of innovators, and followers is the followers are whatever changes that are taking place, that will be taken, will be adopted, and they will implement in the business for their strategies, for their development of the business and all that. They will take as a strategy for development of the entrepreneurship and all that. So this happens. For that, investments are important. Investments should be carefully observed, and because the earnings are very important for any investor, for any entrepreneur. So investments on the base of areas, on the base of the different domains, on the base of that, the earnings will come to the entrepreneur and all that. So that is why it has to be taken very carefully, and he has should check very carefully about it. And you have investment includes design, manufacturing. Investments can be different processes. You need to invest the capital, whatever capital that you have design, that you have proposed, that has to be in the process. Different processes will be there. All of us know, designing, manufacturing, marketing, support services. For that, in different aspect, different capital is required, different funds are required to spend. So for that, investments includes all these components. Next, we have earnings includes revenues, margins, quality, regulatory. Earnings are basically revenues and margins. These are all includes in the earnings, revenues, margins, and quality and regulatory is very important, because these two things are taken care. Then definitely revenues will expected revenues are possible. And successful entrepreneur needs to balance the innovations, say for example intensity and product profitability and all that. Product profitability, when can you expect as an entrepreneur, means you need to take care of the innovations. Then definitely the balance of innovation also very important. And you need to catch the pulse of the consumer. What type of the changes are taking, what type of changes the consumer is required, and or how you have to attract the consumer for your product, and all that should be observed very carefully. Marketing research, that is very very important. The people who are there in the marketing research go on observe these things in the market conditions and all that. The consumer behavior and all that should be observed very carefully, and accordingly changes will take place. So that is one thing. Some of the technology driven industries, if you see, robotics, today we have been seeing the robotics for surgeries. Earlier there were no robotics. Nowadays surgeries also the robot, through with the help of robotics you can see the surgeries also being done. So that is one important. Artificial intelligence, AI, artificial intelligence nowadays replace the human intelligence today. We are all seeing about it. It's slowly coming, emerging. Ability to suggest several alternatives. Artificial intelligence always give different the alternatives, and it is the choice of, it is the requirement of the entrepreneur, what type of the alternative has to be chosen for his according to his requirement. So that is one important provision, that is which is offering by the artificial intelligence and all that advantage. And biopharmaceuticals, if you take molecular, earlier for molecular, nowadays the present situation is molecular based, the pharmaceutical on the basis of molecular base. On the basis of molecular, the pharmaceuticals are running out, and now in the days to come, cell-based biological molecule is going to come. So these are all changes. The what the existing is existing technologies will not be removed. Existing technologies will be there. To that existing technologies, innovations, value additions. That's what I mentioned. No, value additions will be added, and then it will be sustained. For sustainability only, this happen. The innovations are inevitable. So medical devices, today we can see so many things that we are seeing. Even the nowadays oximeters are there, have come in the recent since for the last 2-3 years we have been seeing it. And the other machines also, the BP and sugar also you can check by sitting at home. These are all the innovations that are taking place, the developments that are taking place. The automobiles, say for example, petrol cars are there. So earlier we have diesel cars and petrol cars. From petrol car to CNG, now they are manufacturers are adding the CNG also to the cars along with the petrol. So this is all happening. The car is the old technology only. The technology is not changing, but the what is addition to that, value addition, is CNG is adding to that. So that what happens, the consumer, it is up to him whether he has to use the petrol or CNG. CNG is less cost than the petrol. So if CNG is added to the car, what happens? The cost effective, and people will be interested to buy such cars and all that. Nowadays, we are all of us have been experiencing about it. Similarly, you can see many things. Autos also, CNG autos have come. So it is for petrol, CNG, it is less cost, less price for the people who are managing through, who are the auto owners. They are taking the CNGs also. So because of CNG, the costs and their expenditure will be reduced. So what we have to understand here is that the auto is the same, earlier auto only, but the only thing is we are just adding the innovations. What is that innovation here? The CNG is the innovation that is adding to the petrol autos. Similarly, and aerospace also, so many innovations are taking place. Energies, communication. It's not new thing. So innovation is a value addition, but the product is not new. It's not creation. Earlier in the beginning, whatever product is created, that is creation. That is basic thing is creation. That from the basic thing, you need to upgrade. So that is what we call, the prototype systems. So prototype, the basic model will be there, and to that basic model, you go on add certain changes you are going to add. You have to add for development and all that. You have to develop the product. The development will take place. So that is one thing. Communication. These are all information communication systems nowadays. In the business era is taking a lot of the importance and all that, because of the communication, speed communication. What happened? The business activities, business correspondence is increasing a lot. So that impact today is a lot. We cannot, the earlier the communication system through the postal services and all that, or through telephones and all that. But nowadays the communication system has improved a lot. ICT improved a lot, and because of that ICT, we are the communication system has enormously, the lot of advantages the entrepreneur is taking it out of it. And you have the entrepreneurship development through humanatrics. Humanatrics means, you can simply man, machine is equal to product. So it is a combination of humatronics is a combination of man and machine. So it is a man-machine linkage, you can call it. So enhanced, this is what for this, the performance is to be improved. So performance can be improved, performance can only improve because of the machine and men. That is why machine is self-administration, and the restaurants nowadays, you can see the restaurant surgeries and all that. Even restaurants, the robots are working. They are serving to the users. And surgeries also nowadays, as I mentioned in the previous slides, surgeries are conducting by the robots and all that nowadays. Technical domain, and you have domains. When you check, there are two types of domains: technical domain and business domain. Technical domain is a repeatable activity, which is, say for example, technical domain will not accept risk. Risk will not be accepted under technical domain. Whereas business domain, novelty, novel activity in the sense appeal to the people about business, appeal to the people, or it will take to the consumers and consumers to the nearest level, or it will take to the consumers. So business domain accepts risk, uncertain, no guarantees and all that. Okay. Now another few minutes to complete it, because the time is, we are running out of the time. 5:35, 5:40. Technology in segregation. When we talk about innovators, way out givers, and you have innovators means way out, or problem solvers. We can say differentiators also, innovators, as I mentioned in the previous slides, follow overall approach, and followers, I mentioned in the previous slide, new way of the presenting the product to the consumer with a most cost effective and delivering. So this is will come under the followers and others. So basically there are, as I mentioned in the previous slide also, innovators, differentiators and followers. And innovators, entrepreneurship, technological innovations and entrepreneurs, when I talk about, some of the examples I'll give you. Earlier it was CFL bulb was there, now it is transformed. The product configuration is same, but improved version. Improved version means that because of the innovations, the CFL bulb will transform to LED. So this is all because of innovations and all that. And you have evolutionary innovation, where the changes are incremental, right? Revolutionary innovation, there are evolutionary, revolutionary, disruptive. The evolutionary innovation, when you check, where the changes are incremental, and revolutionary innovation, LED to LED replaced to CFL, or sorry, CFL replaced to LED replaced to CFL. So that is about revolutionary innovation you can talk about. Or disruptive innovation means transformational. What does it mean? It completely, the changes, the methods, complete method will be changed, and new methods are adopted. That is what disruptive innovations, we know, all of us. Sources of innovation are nowadays, the incubation centers in universities. We can see many of the universities are initiated in incubation centers and all that. Because of that, those incubation centers in universities are the places where the incubation centers nowadays. Many of the universities or introduce the incubations. Because of that, what happens, the think tank develops. Next, innovative technologies reshaping the entrepreneurship. Pharma, molecule. Now, the present situation is pharma, when you see, molecule based, and it is going to transform in the days to come and the years to come, biological cell based. This is what, because of the innovation that it will take place. Similarly, automobile, IC engine driven is, at present, IC engine driven is going on, and it may change to, in a very short period, electric power pack driven. It may take place. Similarly, internet nowadays, connecting people and devices, entire city to connect. Smart cities we are talking to today. The smart cities is connecting the people, connecting internet to connecting people. Connecting people means not one particular group of people, entire city, entire town, that we are connecting it, because of so that is why in smart cities it is one of the feature. And banking, when you talk about conventional ledgers, that is following today with a password protected and all that, but in the near future, transformation is that going to take place, that distributed ledgers, blockchain, all those things will going to take place. Financing national liquidity to global liquidity. This is the change that is going to take place. Operating systems to coded, and you have the analytics and services, human intelligence to artificial intelligence. We are moving on. And the space, when you talk about the disposable spacecraft to reusable spacecraft, we are moving on, planning to move to other planets also, from one planet to another planet. These are all changes that are diagnostics. When you talk about laboratory sampling to wearable devices, that we are going to take place. It will going to take place. Energy, fossil fuels, solar, and other renewables that is going to take place. These are all changes or transformation, how the present situation to the future situations, how we are expected to change, and all that I'm talking about. Crop protection, chemical fertilizers and pesticides that we are using it, and over a period of time definitely it will move on to biofertilizers and biopesticides, right? And you have the retail, human served and automated stores will be there. From human served, nowadays you have human served, but it will be transformed to automated stores and all that. Robotics, human programmed to self-programmed is going to take place in future. So these are all the things that are happening. Global Innovation Index, when you just see, it is a simple slide. Now India stood 60th place. Innovations, intensity, and all that, when you check it. Innovation intensity includes, what are those things includes? It includes human capital, research, and the market specialization, sophistication. These are all things that I talked about in the previous slides. These are all very important. Human capital research is very important. Day-to-day changes that will can be observed, and accordingly the changes will be taking place. Market specialization, sophistication is also very important. Consumer point of view, consumer centric is when you talk about, and the knowledge and technology inputs should be observed, should be taken into consideration day by day. These are all the things, creative goods exports. These are all the things that we need to take into consideration, so that the place of 60th position can be improved. That is what the intention. Entrepreneurship business model, when you talk about, I will go a little bit faster because the time, we are running out of the time. It is a pathway to a company's profitability. And it's a pathway to company's profitability is one of for any business organization. Profitability is the main, the pathway. And business strategy, the model I'm talking about, the profitability is one of the model they follow. Business strategy, planning, and ICT. Nowadays, people are adopting this according to the changes. They are adopting it. Suitability of their nature of the organization, nature of the business, they're adopting the planning and ICT. And business model, business architecture, e-business opportunities. Nowadays, I told you about the Swiggy and the Flipkart and all these things. Nowadays, we can see the e-business opportunities and all that. Process of business initiative, the process of e-business and all that happens under this business processing models and all that. And business model components, when you talk about investment, cost planning, sales volume, and revenue projections, these are all important components that under the business model we can talk about. And you have the last slide, when you see technology and innovations are nowadays buzzwords for today's entrepreneurship, which leads to economic and social development of the country, no doubt about it. So that is why innovations and technology are together together should go, and these two are very important for the development of the entrepreneurship. Ultimately, there are many incubation centers, I talked about that, initiated, which helps young entrepreneurs to come up with many innovative ideas. Incubation centers are the basis, are the origins of the innovative ideas will be generated. Innovative ideas will be generated. You can share in by sitting on those platforms, and you can share. You can get assistance for starting the startups or any business ideas. You can implement through that innovative incubation centers and all that, with the help of with the support of incubation centers, startups, and Make in India initiatives not only brought budding entrepreneurs but also exposed new existing entrepreneur towards technology and innovations. These are all very important aspects that one should take into consideration by the entrepreneur. And guidance is very important. Training and guidance is very important nowadays, because budding entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, they have the training, they don't have the awareness about the various aspects of entrepreneurship. So training and guidance is very important for them about the new technologies, right? And maybe encourage them actively for effective business solutions in the days to come. Business solutions are very important today. So that business solutions is only possible with the help of the technology and innovations put together. So this is all about the presentation. And thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I hand over to Isha Jain. Please.
So guys, if you are having any query, you may ask.
Yeah, please.
Any questions? Any questions?
Any questions, please? Or any additions, submissions, you are welcome.
Yes, Professor Kankapati, first of all, my congratulations to you for a wonderful presentation.
It is my pleasure to see you in the participants. I'm happy that you are there in the galaxy. Thank you very much. And I have been.
No, it was a wonderful presentation.
Yeah, I have been seeing you in many platforms, and it is really wonderful presentations by you in the recent days. I have gone through many of them. It's really wonderful. It's an opportunity for me to involve in your presentations also. It's really wonderful.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, sir, can you, because some of my students have also joined this webinar today.
Yeah.
So, I think you have given them a very good idea about the different programs, different startups which the government is promoting under Skill India, Make in India, etc.
Yes, sir.
So, it is very good opportunity for all of you to ask some questions, because sir is an expert and he is also handling the entrepreneurship cell as I am handling in my university.
Yeah, most welcome. I'm happy.
It will be good if you can ask certain questions to him.
Yeah. Or otherwise, you can also submit, sir. If anything you want, it's not that question. And sometimes you can also submit.
No, everything, sir. Everything you have covered, sir. Everything you have covered, sir. That's really nice on your part.
Yeah.
So how are things in Hyderabad? How is COVID there?
Fine. COVID is going on in full swing, so we should be very careful here. And I don't know about your situations over there. How about you?
Same here. It's same here. Same.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Parikshit. Thank you so much, Dr. Kankipati.
Thank you.
For a very informative session for the audience here. Now I am requesting everyone to switch on their cameras for a group photograph.
Madam?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. I didn't get you. Please tell me once again.
So, sir, we are very thankful to you that you have spared your valuable time for the workshop, and it was really a very wonderful session, very informative. Thank you so much, sir.
I am very much thankful to North Cap University, and especially I am thankful to Professor Isha Jain. All the way she is conducting very nicely all the programs. I have been watching, seeing all the programs for the last few days. Every day I am entering in the programs and I am looking. I'm watching the programs. It's very nicely she's conducting. I'm very much thankful. My big appreciations to you, Madam Professor Ishaji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I am thankful to the Honorable Chancellor, Vice Chancellors of the North Cap University, the head of the department, Madam. I forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot in the name. I'm thankful to all the team organizers of the North Cap University. Very wonderful to be associated with you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
And all to the participants also. Thanks a lot.
So may I request all the participants to switch on their cameras so that we can take a group photograph?
Yeah, please.
Dr. Rao, can you please stop sharing the screen so that we can see the participants on the main window?
Yeah, 1 second. Is it okay, madam? Is it okay?
Just a second, sir. Sir, stop sharing your screen. You can see your browser.
1 second.
Yeah. सर जो टीम्स की ऐप है यहीं से आपको ये क्लिक करना होगा शेयरिंग ऑप्शन को जहाँ से आपने शेयर किया था. If you again clicked on that arrow, यहाँ पे क्रॉस आ रहा होगा. Click on that cross.
Yeah, I stopped sharing. Okay. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I request everyone to switch on their cameras. So we can see people outside their home attending this workshop. Thanks to all of you. So we are sharing the feedback form as our practice. On the events group, please fill that form within the time span of 5 to 10 minutes only. And then we will give you certificates within a week time. So today is 17th May, so you will get your certificates by 22nd of May. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Excuse me, ma'am. What about the feedback form? Feedback link, ma'am.
I'm sharing that in the events group.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
As number of people are unable to see the chat box in this meeting, so I am sharing the link there in the WhatsApp group.